morning, good evening, good afternoon to all of you who are joining us from across the world. I'm Devesh Tati from the Next Genius Foundation. And this is a session, a very exciting, a very unique session where we are going to explore some non-traditional destinations. We move on to the next speaker. We have Salelaye Samoura from NYU Abu Dhabi, New York University, Abu Dhabi. And Salelaye, let's start. My first question to you is if you could tell us what sets UAE apart from US or UK.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for putting together this awesome group of panelists, and the questions are just fantastic. And I kind of want to follow the thread of my colleagues, Zorian and Amira, and talk about sort of some shifting global trends that we're seeing. Of course, over the last 50 or so years, there was a lot of movement outside of out of Asia and other parts of the world to places like the US and the UK because of the promise of world-class education and great career prospects. And I think what we've started to see over the course of the last 10 years, but I think a little bit more acute over the course of the last 2 years, is a sort of a shift going back the other way. So having worked with US institutions, I've read and recruited in India for the last 6 or so years. There's just an ever so slight drop in the number of applicants going to schools in the United States. What we're seeing though is a little bit more mobility outside of the sort of the typical big name colleges. The UAE, I think, is really well positioned for lots of different reasons. I think primarily as an expat living here, I can just say that there is a culture and a vibe that is welcoming of lots of different perspectives and backgrounds. In Abu Dhabi, in the capital city, 90% of the residents here are expats. And a large sort of a minority of that expat population comes from South Asia and India specifically. That is also reflected in our community in NYU Abu Dhabi. About 7% of our students come from India. And so that's also a sizable minority considering the fact that the largest population comes from the UAE and they're about 15%. I saw a question in the chat that was not actually directed towards me, but I just wanted to comment on it as well regarding whether or not some of our schools accept disabled students. In the UAE, there's just this culture of tolerance and acceptance and supporting people from all sorts of different perspectives. Here we call folks that are disabled people of determination. We've hosted Special Olympics, we've hosted lots of different sort of conferences and movements that are catered towards or geared towards supporting people from different backgrounds. So I think that support and acceptance is really a part of why I think the UAE sets itself apart. That being said, there's lots of investment in terms of education, in terms of cultural development, and it's geared, of course, towards the locals, but also in terms of developing a cohort of a strong international community. There are changes in civic law and civic engagement to not only support the local Muslim population, but also support the expat non-Muslim population. So the UAE is quite conscious of the diversity that's present in the community here, and they do a lot to kind of welcome folks.
Super, wonderful, Salelaye, for sharing that information. My next question to you is if you could tell us what are some of the most popular majors that international students study at NYU Abu Dhabi?
Sure. If I were to list it, I would go on and on and on, but I think I can say in a nutshell, part of the things that attracted me to NYU Abu Dhabi specifically was the emphasis on the liberal arts. I went to a small liberal arts college in Massachusetts, and I've kind of always been sort of ingrained in me that in order to be successful, you need to be comfortable, effective, and fluid across cultures, but also across academic disciplines. And NYU Abu Dhabi offers just that. So regardless of whatever major you choose, there is going to be a strong liberal arts core foundation in order to give our students or have our students earn core competencies that allow them to be successful. That being said, engineering, we have 6 different engineering majors, and I don't want to list them, but it's civic, mechanical, and general engineering, to name just a few, are quite popular for our students. We have an Arab crossroads major, which makes a lot of sense for students who are either coming from the Middle East or coming from outside of the Middle East who want to get a better understanding of the perspective and sort of where NYU Abu Dhabi stands. The Arab crossroads major is a great one. on social research and public policy, because a lot of the academic programs here that we have do tend to have a social impact sort of bent to them. So those, I would say, are some of our most popular academic offerings.
Perfect. Moving on, the next question is, what is the cost of education and the cost of living when it comes to NYU Abu Dhabi and UAE in general?
Okay, similar to what my colleague Amira said, we are sort of a part of the NYU network here, so you'll expect the tuition is going to be the same. All of that is available on our website, but I think what I will focus on, and I also encourage students to focus on when they're looking at universities, whether in the US or otherwise, there is a sticker price, but that is not always reflective of the price that students will end up paying. As I was mentioning, the city of Abu Dhabi, the country of the UAE, is super welcoming to people from all walks of life, and that includes socioeconomic diversity. And so in terms of applying to NYU Abu Dhabi, many of our students are actually eligible to receive financial assistance and scholarship that may cover up to and beyond the full cost of attendance. So nearly 70% of our students are receiving some form of financial assistance. Very few of our students are actually full pay. And so for those who are receiving financial aid, again, you can cover up to the full cost of attendance, sometimes with a flight home and even a stipend that covers regular expenses. The city of Abu Dhabi is not an inexpensive place to live, but living in Abu Dhabi, you can learn to find balance in some of the ways that you explore the city. Most things are very student-centric, and so places like the Louvre, some of the beach clubs will have student discounts or discounts just for being affiliated with New York University. Lots of cheap eats around the city. So whether you are interested in dumplings or parati, you'll find it in a way that's affordable. Regardless, we do offer lots of opportunities for our students to work on campus, and again, to be able to attain that standard of living that's moderate. When I was an undergrad, I was eating ramen noodles most of the time. And of course, your undergraduate education should be an investment, but we do offer lots of ways to support our students so that they can find a way to live comfortably in the city of Abu Dhabi.
Superb. My next question to you is if you could tell us a little about the campus and the international diversity at NYU AD.
Okay, awesome. So right behind me, I can't argue with Zorian and say that our campus is more beautiful, but this is just a snapshot of our own campus community. Also quite a lovely place to be, super state of the art. And we're really, really proud of the facilities that we're able to offer to our students. We were actually built to accommodate about 2,200 undergraduate students and a not negligible number of graduate students over the course of the next 15 or 20 years. I'll put a pin on that 15, 20 year. But I just want you to understand that this is a long-term investment from the government of the UAE. Regardless, our campus community is vibrant and it's thriving. 15% of our students come from the UAE. That's the largest population here. That means 85% of our students come from all over the world, with, of course, India and other parts of South Asia making up pretty significant minority numbers. Every day at NYU Abu Dhabi feels like a masterclass in cultural competence, intercultural conversation, but we also put our money where our mouths are in terms of encouraging students and facilitating intercultural dialogue. I am a facilitator in the intercultural diversity initiatives, but lots of our faculty and staff also buy into the importance of developing a cultural identity that's reflective of the community that we're in. And so diversity is very important to us. Supporting diversity is very important to us. But other than just diversity, also fostering a community of belonging, of equity, and inclusion. And that's something that I am very proud to be a part of this institution because of.
Superb. Thank you, Salelaye. My final question to you is if you could tell us about what kind of jobs and postgraduate courses or programs do students go for upon graduation?
Okay, this always makes me really excited to talk about because, you know, being at a small university, you get to develop relationships with some of the students. And so it's really a marker of pride to discuss some of the students and what they're up to. In the 10 years since we've opened, we've graduated 14 Rhodes Scholars. We expect that we'll graduate another 2 this year. For those who aren't aware, the Rhodes Scholarship covers a master's degree at Oxford universities for 2 years. And so we're really proud to send our students forward afford to do programs like that. But our students also go on and do fellowships like the Fulbright. They go on to med school at Duke University. They've gone on to Columbia Law, Harvard, and some of the largest state schools in the United States. But also they go back to some of their local prestigious universities. So some of them go back to their home country. 50% of our graduating class actually remains in Abu Dhabi to work or to study upon graduating. If you are doing the math, if only 15% of our students are from the UAE, that's a pretty large number of our students who actually end up staying in the UAE to work who are actually aren't from the UAE. The places where they've gone have included SpaceX, NASA, the Human Rights Watch. Many of them are working at local embassies. And in the UAE, we actually graduated the youngest minister ever appointed to a government position in the UAE, and that young woman was the ministress, excuse me, of youth and other youth initiatives in the UAE. So we're really proud of what our graduates are up to.
Superb. Thank you so much, Salelaye, for all that information. Thank you once again, everyone, for joining. Have a great evening.